Well, certainly Sunday has been a day of mourning and contemplation as the news that Fidel Castro died finally sinks in. There are no official events planned today. They'll start on Monday in Havana's Revolution Square. Workmen have been busy all day putting up barricades and stages in anticipation of the hundreds of thousands of Cubans who are expected to pass through the square to pay their respects, culminating in a mass rally on Tuesday night. Now, Fidel Castro will be buried next Sunday in Cuba's second city, Santiago. That is where he first tried, if you like, armed struggle. It was there in 1953 that Fidel Castro made an ill-fated attempt to storm the Moncada barracks in a bid to overthrow the US-backed dictator Fulgencio Batista. It was the start of Fidel Castro, the revolutionary.
In 1952, Cuba's fragile democracy was shattered when General Fulgencio Batista seized power in a coup d'etat. One of the candidates running for Congress in the cancelled elections was a radical young lawyer named Fidel Castro. With his political ambitions thwarted, he decided to swap the ballot box for the gun and began secretly recruiting like-minded rebels. Ramon Pesfero was one of them. A former student leader, he recalls his initial meeting with Fidel.
Era un hombre carismático. La palabra de Fidel.
He was a charismatic man. Fidel's words and his philosophy about the things that needed doing in Cuba were very convincing. Fidel was not only fighting to overthrow the dictatorship of Batista, but also to transform the country.
Ramon Pes was one of around 150 rebels who joined Fidel Castro's attempted assault on the Moncada barracks in Cuba's second city, Santiago. The assault was a disaster. Almost everyone was either killed or captured, many subsequently tortured and executed. Fidel Castro and his younger brother Raul both managed to escape, but were soon caught and given long prison sentences. Ramon Pes also initially avoided capture, but he too was arrested.
It was a disaster from a military point of view, but in political terms, it was a great success.
Today, the former barracks house a primary school along with a museum, where parties of Cuban schoolchildren learn about how Moncada marked the start of the Cuban Revolution. The raid captured the public imagination. After his release from jail, Fidel forged a new rebel force, launching one of the most successful guerrilla campaigns in history. Fidel Castro came to power in 1959 and for the next half a century exerted a global influence well beyond the size of this Caribbean island.
The Fidel Castro's funeral, before it takes place next Sunday in Santiago, his ashes will be carried from Havana, taken the 900 or so kilometers to Santiago, overland by road, taking 4 days, going right the way through the country, the lengths and breadths of Cuba, allowing people from all over the island to come out and pay their respects. Susan.
Michael Voss in Havana. Thank you, Michael.